Hi everyone, welcome to my stock earnings video for the month of June 2022. And when I reflect back on June for microstock, I had some real ups and downs for that month. Microstock wise, I had my best earning month ever for at least a year, probably more. But personally, I had a few problems. And primarily, I'm now on crutches. I've got a suspected torn meniscus in my knee. I'm going to have an MRI scan tomorrow to find out exactly what the problem is. But it looks like I'm going to be laid up for about 8 weeks, not being able to walk. And hopefully they won't need to operate. So I was all ready and set for the summer to just go out and explore and take photos, but that hasn't been possible due to this. But I'm not going to let it get me down. It would be easy to feel really crushed by this and frustrated. But my trick for dealing with it psychologically is to just look one day ahead. And for some reason, some little victories in my day is enough to keep my spirits up, such as I was able to have a shower successfully, or I was able to make myself a cup of coffee. Stock photography wise, what does it mean? Well, obviously I won't be going out and taking stock subjects, which is a real bummer because my son went to the supermarket during the week and he was really excited because he said, oh, there's a Formula One car parked outside the front of the supermarket. And I just thought, God, 5 minutes walk away, there's a fantastic stock photo or video opportunity to be had there. But no, it's not to be. There's also massive farmer protests going on in the Netherlands at the moment, where the farmers who are near nature reserves are being told that they have to reduce the numbers of cattle that they own in order to cut down on the output of nitrogen into the environment, which is harmful for the trees and the animals in the area. And the farmers are really upset about that and often breaking the law during these protests. And those kinds of protests are right up my alley. I love nothing better than getting out and just photographing enthusiastic protesters. These are missed opportunities, but I'm not looking at it as missed opportunities. I am just looking at it as this is what life has given me. I have to deal with it in the best way possible. Having said that, let's look at my earnings for June 2022. Now we'll start off with Alamy, which I had another good month with. Alamy has turned out to be my favourite agency in the last year or so, and has often dug me out of a hole that the other stock agencies have dropped me into. So what happened with Alamy? I sold one photo for $20 early in the month, and I thought, well, that's nice to get a sale, but it's not really going to help my bottom line for microstock for June. And that photo was of a bloodworm that was lying on the sand of a beach while I was walking on the beach, when I could walk, a few years ago. And I had my camera with me, and there were a lot of fishermen on the beach, and I think this bloodworm had just dropped off the hook of one of the fishermen's lines and had washed ashore. So I got as close as possible with my semi-macro Sigma 17 to 50 millimeter lens and took a very sharp shot. The light was good and I was stable, and you could really see a lot of details in this sandworm or bloodworm. So I earned $20 from that photo, And then on I think the 28th of June, I sold another photo of that bloodworm, but this time for $72. So that was surprising and really lifted my spirits even more. And that image is a commercial photo, so it can be used for a lot of different applications. So I'm really happy with that. For Alamy, I've got 2,200 images in my portfolio, and in June I made $92. Okay, now getting on to the small fish agencies of IEM, Dreamstime, Big Stock, 123RF, Deposit Photos and CanStock Photos, and CanStock I should say. I made $7.52 for all of those agencies combined. There were a couple of highlights. On Dreamstime I had a really bad month. I only sold 70 cents worth of photos for Dreamstime for the whole month. But those two photos were sold for 35 cents each of the farmers' protest that I took photos of, I think about 2 or 3 or 4 years ago while I was there, and could have even been with my old iPhone 4. And I also sold one VW Combi photo that I took in May when I went to the outdoor VW air-cooled exhibition in Scheveningen. So I was happy to see one of those photos sell. Okay, now on to Adobe Stock, and I've got 1,118 assets with Adobe Stock, and that includes 43 photos. I had 20 downloads, and some of the highlights were a commercial photo of some green plump figs that are growing on a fig tree, and I took that photo, must have been 4 years ago while we were holidaying in Croatia, and that photo sold for $2.64. I also sold a photo of the Hague skyline for $1.23. That was an editorial photo. And I also sold another photo which I think was a commercial photo of just this empty sunny beach early in the morning while I was going in for a walk in The Hague, and that sold for $1.23 as well. My biggest earning photo was $3.09, and that was of an urban fox, and I think because there's graffiti on the bench that the fox is walking under, I think I made that photo an editorial. But that was taken a few years ago while I was near Rotterdam Harbour, and this fox was just hanging around people hoping to get some food scraps. In total for Adobe Stock, I earned $19.29. Now on to iStock Getty, where I made $12.89. I've got roughly the same amount of photos as Adobe Stock in that portfolio, but I've got a lot more videos because videos for me sell more on that agency than they do for me on Adobe Stock. The highlights were of one photo of a favourite of mine. I was out in the countryside one day early in the morning, and I was in a farmer's field, I think. The farmer knew I was there, and this flock of wild ducks was flying over in absolutely perfect light, which highlighted the colour of their feathers, and I had a high shutter speed, so I captured the movement really sharply. And that photo sold for $1.89 as a commercial photo. Another commercial photo was of some heritage carrots. I did some indoor stock food photography. I think I made a video about that as well. And I did. I showed you guys as I went to the supermarket and bought all the ingredients for the shoot. And then the process of me setting up the food and the lighting I used and how I shot it. Those heritage carrots were sold for $1.20. And I was walking up the street one day and I saw this really dinky looking electric delivery vehicle, which was probably no wider than me. It looked, well, exaggeration of course, but it was really thin and it looked as if it would fall over if it went around a corner too fast. It just looked really cute and interesting. So I took a editorial photo of that for $1.58. That's what it sold for. I sold 4 videos as well, all of the poor gannet trapped in plastic, and they sold between 53 cents and 88 cents. Okay, and now on to my most successful agency of the month, where I made a record sale, which was in the hundreds of euros. I've already hundreds of dollars, I should say. I think I put it in the thumbnail of this video, so you probably already know how much it is already. But for Shutterstock, I have 2,350 images in my portfolio and 143 videos. I had 44 downloads. 39 of those downloads were of photos and 5 of them were for videos. Some of the video highlights were another video of the hail falling in my backyard during a hailstorm in The Hague a few years ago, and it was a shot, I think, of the hail landing on a like a little bench, plastic outdoor furniture this time, and that sold for $20.35. So that was a commercial video, I think, and I shot it at 4K 60p with my iPhone SE. Okay, now on to the highlights for the photos. The most I sold a photo for was for $2.13, and that was of a bike rider again riding towards the Hague skyline, and that was an editorial photo. I also sold a single photo of a kid lighting a very powerful fireworks, and that sold for 56 cents. In the Netherlands, every New Year's Eve, people are allowed to set off their own fireworks, and they're also allowed to buy them. Some cities have banned it, but not all cities. And some of the fireworks is illegally imported from Belgium, Germany and Poland. So it's a real news issue every year. So it's always a good seller. As long as fireworks are a part of life in the Netherlands, those photos will always sell. There was another photo, was a commercial photo of a fishing rod standing in the sand, and behind the fishing rod in the background is a blurred out fisherman standing in the water and using his rod to fish. And that was commercial because I took off all the logos on the fishing rod and the fishing reel. It only took me about 20 minutes to do, but it was well worth it because that photo sells quite regularly now as a commercial photo. This time it sold for 41 cents. And I sold another editorial photo for $1.73 of one of my favourite subjects, which is the orange reddish Ford, which is parked outside a bakery in Tasmania, which I took a few years ago, and that sold for $1.73. Another photo that has just started to sell a lot more regularly now is of a tree that fell over a road last winter, and I just went outside and took photos of it from a lot of different angles, and those photos are starting to sell quite regularly every month now. This time it sold for 66 cents as an editorial image. Okay, and now the big news for the month of June is I sold for the third time a photo that I took in 2017 of the outdoor VW exhibition of a VW Combi lined up next to some other VW combis. It's an editorial photo, and someone amazingly bought that photo for $500. And what makes it even more amazing is I sold that photo in January as well for $300. Back in November of 2020, I think it was 2020, I sold that photo for $600. So I really don't know why it is selling for so much, whether someone is doing me a favor, in which case thank you very much, because it's really making a difference to my life, or if it's for some other reason. But overall, just from those 3 photos, I've made $1,400 from that pic, which is just amazing. I think that sale is going to really help me paying off some of my medical costs this month. So that $500 that I earned from this photo will more than cover the insurance costs for having the MRI for my knee this month. So that's good timing. Overall for Shutterstock, I earned $536.43. So without that sale, I would have earned $36, and 20 of those dollars were earned by one video, and the $16.43 were earned by photos. Just to give you an idea of the ratio between the different sales there. Okay, how much did I earn for the month of June 2022 in total for my microstock? Well, I will tell you after I remind you kindly. If anything in this video is helpful or interesting to you, please give this video a like, and that will help my YouTube algorithm and help me keep making these videos for you guys. Okay, without further ado, I earned $668.13 in June 2022 from stock photography and videography. Because of my injury, I wasn't able to go out and take photos, but I was able to upload about 7 videos, and they were successfully uploaded to Shutterstock so far. I have to also upload them to Pond 5, which I didn't sell any assets on in June, by the way. So that's all I did for the month of June, which was about an hour's work. So $668 for an hour's work is pretty good going. And passive income wise, it's paying off for me to do stock photography. Especially when I'm laid up, it gives me an extra boost for my income and helps with those unexpected bills. Alright guys, how did you go? I hope you haven't had any disasters like me lately. Let me know in the comments what's going on in your lives, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!